questions on what you're doing?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm going to just go through it real quick. When I say go, you're going to reach down, unbuckle your seatbelt, exit the vehicle, run down to the cone, circle the cone, and come back. You can come back to the passenger side. You're going to open the door. You're going to unbuckle the dummy, pull the dummy out of the vehicle, and pull him straight back to the staircase. We'll tell you to drop it when you get there. You can go on the staircase. You're going to go up and down, touching every step 3 times, turning to the right each time. At the end of the 3rd time, you're going to go through the doorway, push the doorway open, go through it, and get down on the mat and do 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups. When you're done with that, you can go stand back up, go around the door to the staircase, do 3 more times, up and down the staircase, touching each step each time. You're going to run down to the cone, run around the cone, and come back to the car. The dummy's going to be sitting outside the car on the ground. You're going to pick the dummy up and drag it to the staircase. When we tell you to drop it, you're going to tell us your street names. Any questions?
Okay.
Your street names are Cherry and Pine.
Cherry and Pine.
Cherry and Pine.
Cherry and Pine.
One more time?
Cherry and Pine.
Okay. Ready? Go.
Cherry. Cherry and Pine. Cherry. Cherry and Pine.
Can I drop it?
Cherry Pine. Cherry Pine.
like I said, just pay closer attention to your speed. You know, I mean, they sometimes, if you're not familiar with the roadway, it can sneak up on you and stuff. But it's still at the same time, just got to be cautious. Okay, I mean, like I said, going 13 miles over post speed limit, that's a little too fast. Okay. All right, I'm gonna give you this right here.
Okay.
Please drive safely. Okay.
I will.
All right.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
No problem, ma'am. I think treating people as nicely as you can treat them is generally the best way of doing this job, because people will respond better to a positive action from you rather than a negative action from you. This is the LiDAR unit that we use, and what we do is to test it out. We pull the trigger here, and all these lights will come on, basically to show that the LiDAR is functioning. And then we hit the test button, and once again we do an internal circuitry test, and it'll show all the lights are on. At that point in time, we're going to do a what's called a tone test, and we have to walk over here to the 100-yard line to do the tone test. And basically, you hear that tone. That's just showing that we're on target or off target. So we do that tone test, and then what we do is we do our feet test, basically, and you have to do 50, 100, and 150 feet to make sure that it's accurate up to those distances. And then once you have those distances in the system, it knows at that point that it is accurate, and you can use it to write citations based on the LiDAR unit. Okay. And what we do is we check, that's 50 feet, and as long as it's plus or minus 50 feet, 1 foot, so if it said 51, it would be accurate. If it said 49, it'd be accurate within a foot. When I start my shift, I power on the unit. What'll come on, all those lights are going to come on. It's going to do an internal circuitry test and show 32 and 32 displayed on here. So I know that it's accurate. After that point in time, I'm going to use these tuning forks to actually make sure that the instrument is performing correctly. So I'm power on the unit. It's going to show 32. Okay. And now it did its internal circuitry and light test. At that point in time, I'm going to do a tuning fork test to show that the instrument is working correctly. Come in here, hit the test button. It's showing 30 miles per hour.
Unit.
This tuning fork is a 30 mile per hour tuning fork.
109 Baldwin Circle off Wisconsin Road.
I work the entire town of Garner. I basically enforce the traffic laws. I investigate the car crashes that happen in the town, no matter where they happen. I'm the officer, one of the officers that goes and looks at the crash and basically determine what happened. I also enforce the traffic laws in town. Like if we have a speed complaint, I'm the one who's going to go to that location and be looking into why the complaint was sent out and what we need to do to try and correct the problem, whether it be deploy LiDAR or actual speed sentry units that we have. They'll come over, we'll put those out, and it'll gather data letting us know the time that we're having a problem with speeders. We've done it on Buffalo Road. We do it all over the place. On anywhere we get a complaint, that's where we deploy those speed sentries.
Now that I hear you just won a big award, or
Yeah, I did. I got Officer of the Year for the town, for the Garner Police Department, which was pretty big. I mean, I was surprised. I mean, it's really an honor because your peers are the ones that nominated you and selected you to receive that award. So it's it's really cool to get that award for sure.
153 Raleigh, showing check.
Like I said, to me, it's the award to get. If you're going to get an award, it's the one that means the most to you, because it did come from the people that you work with. It's not, they know your work ethic and how you are as a police officer and what you do. So that's why I think it means so much.
Law enforcement will definitely teach you patience. It teaches you to get different problems from different angles. It teaches you that there's not necessarily one solution to every problem. Teaches you to be a good listener. And it teaches you, or it has taught me, compassion. And it's also taught me to be thankful for the community I was raised in, and also the parents that I had and the family support that I have, because honestly, a lot of people, part of who they are is because of how they were brought up, and I'm fortunate that I was brought up in good schools, good family, and good friends.
I believe this career and this job that I've chosen has helped me to be a more patient person, to really step back and, well, first of all, let me say it's taught me to appreciate things that I have, and appreciate family and things that some people may not be as fortunate to have, because in this job you may see things that you wouldn't normally see in a regular 9-to-5 job or sitting at a bank or something like that. But it's made me a lot more, it's made me a lot more appreciative of what I have. It's made me a lot more patient person, because in this job, that's what you need. You need patience. If you don't have patience, then you're not going to go very far.
People probably don't understand the sheer boredom at some point in time. I mean, Garner's a very safe community, so there's not a lot of exciting calls to go to sometimes. The other thing is, like, we try to keep a check of businesses and proactive patrols and things like that, and that's not very exciting that often. About the fourth time you've ridden through a shopping center at 2 o'clock in the morning and then again at 3 o'clock in the morning, it gets boring. And so I think even on the real TV shows that they show, they film a whole lot to get 30 minutes worth of TV, and I guess we're fortunate in Garner. You'd have to ride a long time to get a lot of excitement here, which is a good thing.
One thing people might not know is there's a lot of paperwork involved when it comes to this job. For every, it's not an exact figure, but for every 15 to 30 minutes of fun, you might say, of action, there's about an hour to hour and a half at least worth of paperwork behind it. So the stuff you see on TV, or cops running around pulling cars over and chasing bad guys through the woods and getting drugs off the street, we do that. But what they don't show is all the paperwork that comes after it, and an officer sitting at a desk or in their car typing a report or filling out evidence sheets down at the office and putting evidence into the lockers. So that's one thing that they probably don't see, they don't really know about.
Each year the state requires us to qualify with our handguns and rifles that we carry, and part of that qualification is shooting a set course that we have developed. It's in line with what their standards say that we have to shoot. The officers have to shoot a 70 both day and night on that qualification course. Our standards are a little bit more stringent. If you don't shoot at least an 80% with your handgun, then we make you go to a remedial class so that we can teach you. The courses of fire during the daytime with your handgun go up to 25 yards. They simulate one-handed shooting, kneeling shooting, prone shooting. So it's designed to show any situation that you perhaps would be involved with a handgun. The same thing with the night qualification course. Some of it's in darkness, flashlights, blue lights. So those qualification courses for the handguns simulate what an officer might be exposed to and have to fire his weapon, and that's a state-mandated standard that we have to meet. Same thing with our rifles. We require officers who carry rifles to shoot at least a 90% on a course. For the daytime, that course goes back to 100 yards, which is something similar to what we may be exposed to in the field. Again, it involves kneeling, reloading, standing, prone shooting, and the same thing with the nighttime rifle course, although we don't go as far back. What we were doing out there was qualifying at first, making sure our officers met the minimum standard, and then we also had 4 hours of practical skills instruction for the officers. And during that time, we focus on things such as drawing your handgun, sight alignment, sight picture, helping our officers become better shooters.
I haven't gone through it this year, but that firearms that you went to the other day is actually our annual firearms qualifications course that we have to go through, and it's the same statewide. We actually go through it. That's the same qualification course we have to run every year, and it's mandatory to maintain your certification in law enforcement. So part of the thing that we go through training for is to realize nothing we do is routine. Nothing we do is a standard police procedure, because any one of the subjects that you're dealing with, or any one of the people you go and talk to, could be one of those 3%ers that will give you a problem, even on a simple call where nobody's going to jail. Today we're just on regular routine patrol, and the basic duties of that is we have certain areas that we're all responsible for. Today I'm in District 1. Pretty much other than answering calls for service that when we get dispatched to them, our basic duties are driving around, check businesses, drive through neighborhoods, make sure everything's doing okay inside the neighborhood. So until we get a call, we're pretty much on our own. We can run traffic, try to serve warrants, things of that nature. So the town's broken up into 4 districts. District 1 is the area of south and west. So we have all of the area 401, which is Fayetteville Road, where the Walmart is, down all the way up Old Stage. It even goes all the way out to Fayetteville Road and 1010 at that Food Lion. And as far east as it comes is pretty much Timber Drive. Some residential. It's a good mix of residential and business. It's probably the busiest zone because it has Walmart and Kmart, a lot of shopping in there, so we get a lot of shopliftings. It probably is the most report-heavy zone that we have. Just like I said, we're coming here. It's an intrusion alarm. Somebody's alarm system is going off. We don't typically. This is
Garner Road and Johnson Street.
This is not an area where we get a lot of break-ins, so. I'm anticipating most likely it'll be a false alarm, which they probably just left and set off the alarm, or a lot of times it's animals inside. Garner Police Department. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was asleep and my alarm went off and I came up.
Well, she working night shift and was sleeping. She doesn't know how she set the alarm off, but somehow she set the alarm off and slept through it. So what we got is we'll just do a false alarm slip, which basically just says that we came out here, checked, it was a false alarm, and in Garner, if they're able to, if they cancel us before we get out here, then we don't have to leave any paperwork, and we can just clear the call. But if we come out and check it and it's an actual false alarm, then they can have the potential of being fined up to after the 3rd activation in a year. If they have multiple activations, then they start getting fined. So.
Look, you're also a very thin guy, okay? All right? So whenever you drink 2 beers, depending on the alcohol concentration of them and the size of them and everything, it's going to affect you differently, okay? But you couldn't have just had 2 beers 3 hours ago, okay? Because your body would have metabolized that by now. Okay, this is the Alka sensor, FST. Basically, we utilize this on the side of the road whenever we're doing our a DWI investigation or an alcohol restriction violation. A person has to submit a sample of their breath into the Alka sensor, and what it'll do is it'll take a reading. Basically, they take a deep breath and blow out for about 5 seconds, just like this, a constant steady breath of. While they do that, this instrument right here emits a tone, letting me know that an adequate sample of their breath is going through. And as soon as it completes them giving their sample, it basically at that point in time gives me a reading of what their breath alcohol concentration is. Just a minute ago, I had a person that I was dealing with who has a restriction on their license of .04, and they have a breath alcohol concentration of .05, so they're outside the restriction. They're not guilty of DWI, they're not being charged with DWI, but they are being charged with no operator's license and driving outside their restriction. You want to treat people as well as they'll allow you to treat them. You know, I always think I want everybody to be treated like I would want somebody, a member of my family, to be treated. So, you know, if you've got somebody on a vehicle stop, whether it be they're giving you an attitude or whatnot, you need to still treat them as professionally as you can and talk to them and explain to them that you're here to do a job, and that, you know, unless things escalate, which they normally don't, people generally will listen to what you have to say. It's just how you say it. That's really what it boils down to. How you talk to people and how you treat people.
We're at 70. We're going to be making a left. We're at 70 in the Mechanical. Left.
Well, I think first and foremost, I appreciate the community support that they have for the police department and the town employees. I have friends that are police officers in other communities and people who work in other communities across the state and the nation, and Garner has a wonderful group of people who live here and who work here who support our police department and our town employees. So that's one of the great things. The other thing is it's nice that I think in general people are very friendly to us as police officers here. I was eating in Trips the other day, one Sunday night, and a couple who I didn't know picked up the tab for the two of us that were eating there, and I thought that was very nice. And that's not unusual for that to happen here. So I think our community supports our police department, and that's really nice. We work hard to provide excellent service to the citizens and the people in the town, but that is repaid to us. So.
One of the main things I appreciate most about Garner is the fact that it's grown, but it's still got the small town feel. A lot of my friends still live in Garner. A lot of my friends actually work in Garner. You know, it's like I said, it's grown. Garner's getting really big. You know, it's spreading out. But I like the fact that people still gather up. We still had the Main Street get-togethers where they had music on Main. We still have, like for instance, whenever, I mean, I hate to reference Scotty, but when Scotty went through American Idol, I mean, you could really see everyone come together as a community, and you know, and pull for one common goal, and then, you know, it shows that people have people's backs. You know, that guy was from Garner, and people, you know, were behind him all the way, and that shows that people still care. But yeah, I love Garner. It's been nothing but good to me. I went to middle school, I went to high school, made a lot of friends, and wouldn't trade it for the world.